Let's have an amazing weekend. I know you're still sleeping. You're like, normally I'm at work. Get excited. You're here. You're going to learn a bunch of things. This is something completely different. I'm very excited for. So, thank you for spending the weekend with us here. All right. I see some familiar faces in here. Welcome back, John, Scott, Kathy. So, most of you know me. You know that I am Jamie. If we could change the back, that would be awesome. Okay, there we go. I started here as a student. I got my first house under contract after 6 months of being with this school. That is me. You can tell that I was here for about 2 years because I am no longer blonde anymore. In fact, when I first started working here, I got this made. It said Blondie buys houses, and now I guess I'm Brunette buys houses. I'm a senior student liaison here in Investor School, and I'm a real estate investor and stock options trader. I'm passionate about helping all of you reach your goals, and I'm also a new mother to a beautiful baby girl. Please silence your cell phone at this time. If you need to take any calls, please just step out into the lobby and take the calls. Use the microphone when asking your questions. There is people streaming, so they want to be able to hear you and also learn from your questions. There's bathrooms. Are we using upstairs and downstairs? Okay, so there's a bathroom right here to the left, and there's a bathroom downstairs. Make yourself comfortable and enjoy the day. There's hot coffee all day in the back and water and snacks as well, so please help yourself. At this time, I'm going to bring up Larry Steinhaus. He is the co-founder of Investor Schooling. Please help me welcome Larry Steinhaus.
Yay! All right, you guys psyched? All right, cool. All right, if you're in the empty chair, you're going to miss out. So make sure you're not in an empty chair. All right, whatever. You know, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Give me a chance, will you? I get funnier as the day goes by, I promise. Oh, no, 10 o'clock in the morning I get funnier because that's when Phil and I do the radio show tomorrow. You guys, anybody listen to the radio show? Who listens to the radio show? Isn't the radio show great? So we're doing that every morning at 10. So we're doing tomorrow. Actually, we're going to be live while you guys are here. We're going to be live on the radio too. So I know we're going to lose 100% of our audience, but that's right. I want to talk to you a little bit about today. As we've talked about before, listen, this is an event. You know, we got a bunch of us. We got Linda, we got myself, we got Phil, we got Jamie, we got Paul back there, Ken back there. You know, these are, and Pedro back there, of course, running the electronics. And things go wrong. I promise you, more things will go wrong with this event than you will even notice. And we'll be back there panicking, trying to fix them and make it perfect for you. So just be cool. Don't worry about it. There are times you may run out of water, you may run out of coffee. Just grab somebody. Hey, you know, water and coffee's out. Or just say, you know, maybe the bathroom needs to be tended to, or you can tend to it yourself. There's a bathroom downstairs, right? And the bathroom downstairs does not have a fan in it. So that's why we call that bathroom number 1 and this bathroom number 2. So do what you got to do and do what you got to do. All right. Who wants to become rich? All right, repeat after me. Let's become the rich. Oh, my God. Repeat after me. Let's become the rich. Let's become the rich. Let's become the rich. Let's become the rich. Somebody should write a song about that, huh? All right, so you guys, when you came in this morning, you guys got tickets, right? Everybody got tickets? Who's got tickets with them? My staff. Anybody got tickets that they could give out? All right, grab some tickets. So I'm going to tell you what these tickets are all about and how this works. Just give me those right there. So what's going to happen is when you participate this weekend, you're going to get more and more tickets. So hold on to these tickets because every day we're going to be giving out prizes. So if you stay to the end of the day, you get a prize. If you leave early, you lose more than the prize. You lose a lot of knowledge that you're going to get today because there's going to be some really cool stuff going on today. By the way, you want to see some of the prizes? How about Sixers tickets? Thanks to Lamar. So Lamar, our billboard. Everybody see our billboards? So this guy back there, he convinced us to get these billboards, and so far, all we do is pay him and nothing happens. So if you guys participate, you guys are going to get more coupons. You're going to get you can get Sixers tickets, dinner. So anybody ever hear about the dinners that we give out? Anybody hear about the rumors of the dinners? Aren't they great? We go to Capitol Grill. We have a great time. We order, expensive steaks and drinks, and and then the bill comes, and Phil and I almost fall off our chairs and go, we got to stop doing this. It's so expensive. But we're not. Aha. He wanted to stop it. I said no. We're also going to give away silver bars, silver coins, and many prizes. Some of the speakers are going to be giving out prizes too, and you'll be hearing about those also coming up. So we're also going to be doing something. We're going to be doing some breakout sessions during the week, and during the weekend. So today, tomorrow, and Sunday, we're going to be doing breakout sessions, and these are the people in the breakout sessions. Now, my suggestion. So we're going to break into 4 groups, and my suggestion is pick a group that you think you want to learn something from, right? So maybe Ken MacArthur. You guys know Ken. We're going to be talking about him. He's going to be all these are going to be the speakers, by the way, except for they're all the speakers. And if you want to meet with them and you want to talk to them, and you want to do a breakout session. So basically, we're going to break up into 4 groups. You're going to go out to breakout sessions, and you're going to just kind of mastermind together, ask questions. All right? Anybody have a question? Make sure Phil gets a ticket. I know. I was going to say it, and then I didn't say it. But I don't want anybody to know I'm not presenting. I'm taking 3 days off. I'm not doing a thing this weekend. If you win, we'll well, whatever. I think you're disqualified. Really? All right. Where are we? Okay, so you guys excited? You guys pumped? What are we going to do today? No, we're going to do this. Say it together. No, that one. I went too far. Come on, one more time. All right, so this the theme of the weekend is let's become the rich. You guys get it? You guys going to say let's become the rich one more time? Which one are you going to say? All right, 1, 2, 3. Let's become the rich. Let's say it so loud that the guy next door yells at us. 1, 2, 3. Let's become the rich. Yeah, man. Come on up here, Jamie, and why don't you, where'd you go? Okay. Is Jamie here? Okay, so I'll tell you what, let's do this real quick. Let me talk to you a little bit about my partner, Phil Falcone. So first of all, Phil began investing in real estate in 1898. And I got my dyslexia a week after that. He owns the #1 tiny house park in Florida, Siesta Keys, Florida. If you guys like ever look up is it Go Siesta? GoSiesta.com, right? Chinese? Oh, Tiny Siesta, right? I'm sorry. Tiny Siesta, that's right. TinySiesta.com. You got to check these out. The pictures are awesome. He's also negotiated millions of dollars in private and creative funding for real estate. And I'm telling you, when you learn how to do this, blow your mind. Also, he owns a successful vacation rental business. He's the published author of 3 books, actually 2.5, because I wrote one of them with him.
Yeah, but your hat was the smaller part.
No, actually, if you stand next to me, we could see that your half was the smaller part. And Phil loves something. I don't know, I'm not even sure. Come on up here, Phil, and tell everybody what you're going to do. This was your introduction, man. I don't know if you realized it. This was the real introduction because I don't know. Well, okay, let's start again. Okay, hold on. I'm Jamie Lonigan, and this is Phil Falcone. No, okay.
I've been calling her Lenahan for like 3 years.
Is your mic on?
None of my mics are
Does your mic work?
Gremlin.
All right, cool. Well, that means it must be working. Hey, you might want the clicker.
We're off to a heck of a start.
See? Be cool. What are we going to do today?
Become the rich.
Somehow we completely mixed up today's theme. What's today's theme? Finally. Got him going.
Maybe this one will. How about now? All right, I'm gonna need them both. I love these Mr. Microphone mics anyway. Okay. Why am I gonna talk about marketing? Because that's where all real estate acquisition starts. So why not start a 3-day seminar talking about the thing that's going to get you leads? No, I'm not going to read this disclaimer. You've heard it already. The first piece of marketing that I want to share with you is this. So there's a little story behind this. When we started the school, sometime in the first year, I went out and I bought 10 t-shirts that said, "I buy houses." And I swore that I would not stop wearing the t-shirts until I got a real estate deal. First year went by, second year went by, the t-shirts started to disintegrate. My wife threatened to divorce me if I kept wearing these t-shirts. Some guy talked to me at the gym. In the second year, he mentioned to me in the gym, he might have a property, it's his mother-in-law's property, he might be interested in selling it to me, blah, blah, blah. But the deal never happened. So now I'm in the third year of I'm not wearing the t-shirts anymore because they literally ended up in the trash. My wife may have been throwing them out, I'm not sure. And Hurricane Ida just happened. And this particular guy who was talking to me about his mother-in-law's house, it's in a flood zone, and Hurricane Ida flooded the basement so bad that their explanation to me was when they opened up the basement doors, there was 3 inches between how much more water that place could handle. 3 more inches and it would have come on the first floor. But the first floor is like slightly elevated, so I guess that's why it didn't flood. It was pouring in like a waterfall through the basement windows, right? This particular house, it sits on what looks like 3 acres. I'm a city guy, so I don't even really know what 3 acres is, but I'll imagine it's like 3 acres. The house next to them got, in 2002, there must have been a big flood, and this house got leveled by FEMA. I didn't even know that FEMA bought houses. When houses become structurally unsound, FEMA steps in and bought this house, bought the house next to them, bought the house behind them, and leveled all 3 of them. So now this house sits there. It's a 2-story house with like 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it sits there at what looks like on multiple acres. So it's pretty cool. It's right on Warminster Road. And I got it under contract 3 years and a year after I stopped wearing the t-shirts. He called me during Hurricane Ida and said, "We're finally ready to sell." So I went down there. I got the house under contract for $165,000. Zillow says it's worth almost $300,000. I hope Zillow's right, but whatever. I mean, I'll probably make $25,000, $50,000. Who the heck knows? Maybe I'll make $75,000. I'm probably gonna I don't even really need to buy it. I could just put it up for sale and sell it to somebody. But what I'm thinking I'm gonna do with it is I'm probably gonna just buy it for cash, for only $165,000, and then I'm gonna list it on the MLS and wait for somebody who wants to live in it. Right? They'll just have to buy flood insurance if it ever happens again. These people had flood insurance, and when Hurricane Ida came through, it destroyed their heater, their washer, and their dryer. Everything else just dried right out. So it wasn't some major catastrophe. I used to own an apartment building right next to the Delaware River. That thing flooded out. That was really painful. Very, very painful. 3 units downstairs. They were all like 3 one-bedroom studio units. Oh man, they got destroyed. The upper kitchen cabinets would hit maybe a halfway mark of the upper kitchen cabinets. So everything was ruined. Everything. Stoves, refrigerators, electric heaters. You had to wait for the place to just dry out for like months. I mean, it was bad. you know, I did get paid because I had flood insurance. So I got a big fat check from it. That was cool. Big fat check. I like my chunky money checks. So big checks, they just warm my heart. They make me feel great. All right, so let's talk about. So it just goes to show you these silly things work. You can buy a T-shirt like this for like $15, right? Put any image you want on it. It works. Buy a hat. Buy a pin if you don't like wearing these T-shirts every day. For me, it just is easy. I just don't have to think about what I'm gonna wear. You know, it's pretty easy. And if it makes you money, hey, would you like to invest $16 in a T-shirt that ends up maybe? Let's just say that I do make $75,000 off of this house that I'm buying for $165. $16 investment made me $75,000. I will let you know how much I make off of this house, but it's going to be way more than $16. So I used to have this I Buy Houses store. I still own the building. I decided to stop working there when COVID hit because for a whole year, nobody walked in my store. But the first year I bought this store, I made like $200,000 off of the leads that came in. People would literally walk into the store and say, I'm done with my house. I had one lady leave keys right on my desk. Said, I'm done with my house, you know, and it was up to me to figure out what the strategy was going to be, right? So it was pretty awesome, man. People come in to the store on a regular basis, and they just want to talk to me about, like, how can I solve your problem? They say, please buy my house. I like that scenario, right? I'm not the one begging for it, all right? But these trucks, these T-shirts, these cars. By the way, in this T-shirt that you see on this picture, there is a picture of me wearing the T-shirt on this T-shirt. And on that T-shirt is a picture of me wearing this T-shirt, and so on and so forth. So I just find that interesting. Okay, so let's talk about some marketing ideas. You got your T-shirt idea. You got your I Buy Houses store idea. Anybody want to buy my store? It's for sale for $450,000, and I just got a contract for $420 last night when I went home. So it should be a nice payday for me because I think we only bought it for like, I don't know, 175 grand, something like that. Okay, so here's a marketing idea that you can try. I'm gonna give you guys some ideas tonight. One of them, this guy is Chris Chico, is his name. He does a lot of videos on YouTube where he explains what he does. Okay, he does Facebook marketing for you. Now, anybody can put up a post that says, I buy houses, right? The way Chris does it, it's different. And you could even copy him if you watch his videos and learn about what he does. But he's got a pretty good system. So what he does is he sells you a region. Now, it's supposed to be exclusive. It's definitely not exclusive. So at one point, Larry was told that Larry did Chris Chico. And he did it before me. And Larry was told that he owns Philadelphia, right? Later on, I signed up with Chris Chico, and I was told I owned Philadelphia. How about that? And I started to think, well, geez, how many guys own Philadelphia? I'm not sure. Let's just say that I trusted Chris Chico to spread the leads out for the 11 people who own Philadelphia. I don't know how many people owned it, but I still got consistent leads from it, so it does work. One of his strategies is to put up pictures of the most dilapidated houses that you've ever seen, right? Like they look like they're going to fall apart tomorrow. And you will get some interesting comments on these ads because I've had people like calling me a scammer and saying I steal houses from people and all that. You're always going to have those angry people, things like that. But basically what you do is you get an email sent to you that lets you know that somebody just responded to your ad. And then you have the opportunity to go on there and respond to those people if you want. You could just talk to them directly. Typically, I wouldn't do it on the ad. I would like direct message them and then communicate with them. This is a strategy that's worth trying. I did make money off of everything that I did with Chris Chico, not a ton of money, but it made money. It's something that you should all try at some point. I think it's a pretty cool method to find real estate deals. This is an example of one of his ads. So he calls it the ultimate digital bandit sign, and he'll this picture doesn't really represent some of the incredibly dilapidated houses that he puts up there. But you know, you'll get some naysayers for sure, but that's just part of the business, and you just got to be tough and expect negative comments, because people will write all kinds of crazy things to you. But you know, we know we're doing good. We know we're helping people. Is that my mic? Oh, thank you. How's that? Boy, I like this deep voice. Okay. So, I use this lady's picture a lot. I kind of had a thing for her for years. I used it on my Executech Suites answering service ads that I would put up on Facebook. But I found this picture like 20 years ago, so I think I blew my chance. So there's a lot of different robocallers. If you don't like to call people, and I seriously recommend that you do call people yourself. I still do it. I'm not above doing that. If you spend a couple of hours just calling, like right now I'm calling mobile home parks, and if you just carved out 2 hours a day, for example, a good time to do it would be maybe from 12 to 2. A great time to do it is Sunday night when everybody's home. Call from like 7 to 9 or 6:30 to 8:30 is a great time. If you just try it, I think you'll find that it is a very inexpensive, as in zero cost, and it will help you in many ways, because if you pick up the phone and call people and talk to them about buying their house, your skill set is going to improve rapidly because you're getting used to talking to sellers. And if you make phone calls for a couple of months, 2 hours a day, you'll get good at it, and you'll get to a point where you're getting a lead almost every day. So it does pay for itself. Right now, I'm cold calling mobile home parks in the state of Florida. And I just bought one with John Baum. I plan to buy more. And there are 5,000 mobile home parks in the state of Florida alone. So how long do you think it's going to take me to call 5,000 parks? And by the time I do call 5,000 parks, I can just start all over again, and no one's going to even remember me, right? So this is a really cool way. A lot of people don't want to do it, they're not comfortable doing it, but I think it's one of the most important things that you can do. If you're not willing to pick up the phone for a couple of hours and call people about buying their houses or buying their mobile home parks or whatever, and you can get a list, you can buy a list of names, it's very cheap. You know, you could go to listsource.com, search for anything you're looking for. Any kind of house, any kind of commercial property, whatever you want to buy, just buy a list. Your investment is going to be pretty minimal. I mean, it's not expensive. Maybe $500 will buy you a lot of names, and you could just spend the next couple of weeks or a month just calling those people. And at the same time, you may not even realize it, but what will happen to you is you'll say something that was really well put together, and you'll be like, you know something? You write down what you said, right? I have like a whiteboard in my home office where certain things that I've said, and I want to remember those things, and I want to say it just the way I said it. And you'll begin to fine-tune your game on the phone. If you can talk to people on the phone, you'll be able to talk to them in person. And the whole thing will just evolve, and you'll become the salesperson that you maybe are or that you maybe are not. but this is how you got to develop your game. So these are all different companies. Five9 will make calls for you, professional callers. Professional callers have a lot of cool tools. They've got like robocallers, so they can upload all the phone numbers into the system. And that's why if you've ever gotten a telemarketing phone call, geez, I'm sure no one's ever got that. What happens often is you'll answer the phone, but there's nobody there. That's because they're dialing 3 numbers at the same time, and the first one it picks up is the one that the cold caller starts calling or starts talking to. Another one's LogMe and Rescue. Does the same kind of thing, but it calls from the PC. Ring Central is a way you can assign numbers. All right. So suppose you were doing bandit signs like these bandit signs that we've got over the box over here, or back in that corner underneath the back TV. These phone numbers are different. So the reason these are my bandit signs, when I put up bandit signs, which by the way is one of the most effective ways to get leads. It's a very good way to get leads. I used a different phone number on every sign because I paid people to put these signs up, right? So in order for me to pay the guy, they would get paid like $1.50 for every sign they put up. And they got to do this at like 2, 3 in the morning, especially if you're doing it in Philadelphia, because if you get caught with 300 signs in the back of your truck, for example, you might be facing a fine. But I don't know anyone that's ever been caught doing it. But the use of the phone numbers is so if someone calls in at that number, I know who put that sign up, okay? Gives me a way to track them, right? And I also pay them an override of $100 if I get a lead that I buy off of one of those signs. So this is something that anybody can do. These signs are not expensive. You can buy them. They just get shipped right to your house. The hard part is going out and putting them up, okay? And I recently brought in here on a Monday night, I brought in this heavy stapler that I use that you could staple them on the sign. So lots of people can figure that out. It's easy. If you want to learn about the tricks that some of these people use, just go on YouTube and look up bandit signs. You'll see tons of videos of people who do this, okay? You could use VAs to call people, but I still think that even if you did all of these things, you should still do it yourself. It just makes sense. It's good for you. It'll help develop your skills. One of the cheapest marketing pieces that I've ever seen is yellowletters.com. So this is like a very inexpensive postcard. It's written to make it look like it's handwritten. A lot of times when I write letters, I write them by hand and I just make copies of them. I'll show you an example in a few minutes. This is a very flimsy card, but it's pink. It's written by hand. It's got these cute little arrows and asterisks and exclamation points and a little picture of a house. It catches people's attention. These things are pretty cheap. Last time I did it, it's been a couple of years, but I think I only paid 43 cents a postcard. I'm sure the price has gone up, but I don't really know what it is. I haven't used it in a while. These things are used, I know, like I own a lot of houses, so I get a lot of marketing sent to me. I got a house in Mayfair that I sold like 7 years ago, and people keep sending me postcards, and I'm at the point where I'm actually going to call the title company, if I can find the HUD of when I sold that house, call the title company and tell them to get my name off of that house, because I get all this marketing. I get tons of marketing anyway, but apparently my name must still be on that house. I should go find out if maybe I still own it. I don't know. But I get a lot of phone calls for this house in Mayfair. It's just funny. And I know a lot of these guys because I've been in the real estate business for 32 years. So a lot of these guys, Frank McGovern was one of the guys who sent, you can see his name right here, Frank McGovern, and Bellamy Trust. So, you know, obviously, whenever I buy a house, I put the name of the street. It was on Bellamy Drive, right across the street from where I lived. And I bought the house across the street from where I lived, and I fixed it up and flipped it, and then he sent me this postcard. Okay, so let's focus on this orange flyer here. This guy, his name is Dave Slothman. I don't know if any of you know him. He also goes under the name Al Slothman. And I'll just share one thing with you. Never trust a guy who has 2 first names. Okay? That's a bad sign. I'm just kidding. He's a cool guy. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for years. When I was first learning the business, I hung out with him for a day, and he bought 4 houses in one day. Now, these were like really bad houses, like the kind of houses that you walk into the living room and you can see the sun. That's usually bad. Really dilapidated houses, people in big, big trouble. He's buying houses in some of the worst neighborhoods in the city. He's buying them for 10 grand, 14 grand, that kind of thing. But the guy makes money. He knows how to do it. He's been doing it forever. And he is a cool guy. If you hang around with him, if you get to know him, you can become friends with him on Facebook. I mean, if you just drive around the city, you want to find out who all the wholesalers are in the city or in any city, guess what you do? Call the bandit signs. Drive by a bandit sign, just call it. So I did that. That's one of the ways I got to know Dave, because I kept calling bandit signs, and Dave kept answering the phone. There's always the same guy almost every time answering the phone. And I'm like, geez, I think I'm going to stop calling bandit signs because I'm bothering the guy. But this is a cool flyer. I mean, we buy houses for cash, right? Does cash even matter? If you're selling a house, who cares? If the guy brings a suitcase of cash, or he brings a bank check, or he brings any kind of check, what do I care? As long as it clears, I'm happy. That whole thing about buying for cash, it really doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I get it, whatever. So this marketing strategy came from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Somebody, if you've ever gotten a parking ticket in Philly, this is what the parking tickets look like, right? Somebody designed a I Buy Houses flyer to look like a parking ticket, and would it be easier if you were knocking on doors and putting flyers like underneath somebody's welcome mat or in between their screen door and their front door, walking up and down all those steps? Or would it be easier to go to a parking lot at the King of Prussia Mall and put 3,000 parking tickets on everybody's car? You could do that pretty fast, right? It's a really clever strategy. I have not used this strategy, but I'm kind of tempted to. It's right up my alley, let's just say that. So I really like this. And basically, people are going to grab it and look at it. You can bet your butt on that, because they think they have a parking ticket. And then you realize it's just a We Buy Houses. So this is another cash thing that somebody else copied. I don't know who Mike Murray is, but he obviously copied Dave Slothman's marketing. And a lot of people have copied Dave Slothman's marketing. Why? Because he's successful. I also like this yellow and red flyer, because we all know yellow and red are great combinations to go together. Whenever I get dressed, I always try to do yellow and red. I like this flyer. A couple of reasons. He made it like a square, which makes it stand out. It's different. It's not a standard postcard. It's something different. His color scheme is ugly, but it works because it gets your attention. It gets you to look at it. And the message is pretty good, too. And I like the fact that he wrote, "We will pay you a referral fee of up to $1,000, basically, if we buy a house," right? So if maybe you got this flyer and you maybe give it to somebody else, you could maybe make $1,000. I actually put that message on the back of my business card. So I give my business cards to people all the time, and when they flip it over, I go, "Hey, if you know somebody who's selling their house, you let me know. I'll pay $1,000. Now, I haven't really gotten an actual lead from it, but I came close. I had a couple people give me addresses, things, and I just couldn't put it together. But they work. Now, this is like a really boring looking card, right? A friend of mine and Dave Slothman went to a seminar to get this postcard. They paid, I think, $6,000 each. $12,000 just to get the verbiage off of this postcard. The guy who produced it, his name is Richard Roop. And this is what his card looks like. This is one of his cards. It's very similar to putting a traffic ticket on the windshield of a car, because he's trying to make people run up urgent notice, yellow with red letters. Actually, this is the address that I think that's the address, Shellmeyer, that I keep getting marketing sent to me forever. I just got a piece like yesterday from it. I threw it out because it wasn't a good marketing piece, but if it was good, it would have made it its way into this presentation. So this marketing piece is designed to scare you, like, oh my God, you missed a mortgage payment, your house is in foreclosure, your house is going to sheriff's sale, and urgent notice, right? And I've seen people, because I used to put these things underneath the welcome mats or squeeze it in between the screen door and the front door. And I've seen people, like, you can see them when they pull up in their car. Somebody's going to pull up on you if you deliver enough of these. And you'll see people get out of the car and they just like make a bead right to that sign. And then when they get it, they're probably angry at you, you know? So I just keep walking down the block. But this is a very effective marketing piece. My business partner at the time, and this was like 15 years ago I was using this, we used it for almost 2 years exclusively. We got a lot of decent leads from it. So this is an example. I don't know what Richard's doing these days. I haven't looked him up lately. But he's somebody you could look up because he has some pretty good marketing stuff. And it works. And it's well thought out. So it's something to take a look at. This example here of this letter behind me is basically a probate letter. So you can find examples of these all over the internet. But basically, what you'll notice is this area probates, when somebody dies, typically gets more marketing sent to a house and more marketing competition than you'll ever see. Okay? I've bought lists of probates, and then I've actually gone to the house to knock on the door. Not only did I send them a letter, I went to the house. And when you go to the house, there are so much marketing stuffed in between the screen door and the front door. The mailbox is overflowing. There's wet marketing pieces stuck all over the patio out front because there's so much marketing being sent to them. But you got to ask yourself, why are all these people sending marketing there? Because it works. It works, right? When somebody dies, that house is definitely getting sold. It's just a question of who's going to be the buyer for it. So that's always a list that will get you a ton of competition, but it will also get you leads, and real opportunities. So this is just one of the letters that I've used. This blue letter is one that I just hand wrote for myself. I took some of the best marketing. I always save the best marketing that comes. And I say, oh, maybe I'll use a part of that. And this blue letter is basically just a combination of things that I liked. And I wrote this for my son because he went out and put out like 5,000 of these flyers all over the place. And so the letter reads, hey, be the first in your neighborhood to act. If you take a minute to read this, I can save you $20,000 in wasted fees. Wasted fees being a real estate agent, because you won't need one if you do business with me. I'm just going to buy your house, right? And I will give you a $500 plus. I will give you a $500 gift, okay? Now I say, my family's been in the house buying business since 1989. We have an I Buy Houses store in Hatboro and on 309. I used to have 2 stores in Hilltown, and I write, seen us. Maybe they'd know me. I also have a little picture of the I Buy Houses store at the bottom. And then I write, working with us. No repairs, quick close, fair price, solid close date, pay no commissions, flexibility, no hassles, deal direct with me. Here's my phone number, and I circle it. And then I talk about some of the negative things about working with a realtor. And then I say a free gift of an Amazon card for $500 will be awarded at settlement. So this is a very simple thing that I just hand wrote, but I stole this T-bar concept from another piece of marketing, and I stole the concept of the $500 gift card from another piece of marketing. So try to get some marketing sent to your house. Buy some houses, and then people will just automatically send marketing to your houses, which will usually get directed to you. You can put ads in the paper. I've never done this. This is a terrible image, but this guy is a killer. His name is Kenny Rushing, and he lives in Tampa, Florida. And he is a piece of work, this guy. He buys a lot of houses. He's got a very active wholesale business that he runs. And he's also a realtor. So he sells the houses, so he buys them at wholesale prices. He sells them at retail prices. And he is a smart guy. He's a very successful real estate investor. And if you ever go to Florida, you can look him up. If you've ever heard of like Preston Ely, Kenny Rushing, these are some of the guys in Tampa, Florida who are real successful at what they do. Good guys. Here's another probate letter that I got a sample of. You can take a picture of it on the screen over there. If anybody wants to copy it on side TVs would be a better place to take a picture of it. If you're interested in doing that, I'll give you a minute. And anything that you can get, you know, if it's a good piece of marketing, you can use it. You can use it, a part of it. You don't have to use all of it. Like, I think this is maybe a little bit too wordy, but everybody has their own style. So pick the parts that you really like and use it. Okay? Another thing that we got from Andrew is batch driven. So I used to use Deal Machine, but my son used to drive around. He used to work for me finding leads, and I would pay him to drive around and use Deal Machine. Deal Machine, if you don't know what it is, you take a picture of the house. The GPS recognizes the house's address. And if you choose to, Deal Machine can send a postcard with the picture of your house on the postcard, which aggravates some people because they're like, who the hell's coming around here taking pictures of my house, right? People don't really like that. However, it's still an effective marketing strategy. But after we learned about batch driven, I think it's much better than Deal Machine. So batch driven is probably the app you want to use. So it's the same concept. You drive by a house. So let's just suppose, for example, you're in Willow Grove. You're going to go to Willow Grove. You're going to drive up and down every single street of Willow Grove. That might take you 3 hours. So what? That's not even a full morning, right? You drive around Willow Grove, and what you're looking for is houses that need buying. I'm not talking about houses that have a realtor sign on the front lawn. I'm talking about houses that have piles of newspaper, tall grass, blue tarps on the roof, broken down cars on the front lawn. Houses that are screaming, this house needs to be bought, okay? And then what you can do with batch driven is you could send them a postcard with a picture of their house on it. You could also skip trace all of the leads that you captured. So each time you take a picture of a house, that address, it has a GPS in it, and it will just add to a list in your email that will tell you these are the houses you took pictures of today, right? And you can skip search all of these houses, all right? You can also do the same thing with PropStream that we're all using now, which seems like it's the latest and greatest. So a lot of people are using PropStream. I'm still learning it. I've been going through some of the tutorials and getting ready to use it. And you can mail to all of these people. You can mail to some of these people. You can call them. There's a lot of different things you can do. So you should think about, like, if you really like using these apps, this is a way where you could say, for example, drive the entire county. So if you could do Willow Grove in 3 hours, I'm pretty sure that's what it took my son to do it, the whole thing. By the way, some of these programs, they actually track every single street you drive down. So the street turns green after you've driven down the street, and it will actually tell you, like, you forgot these 2 streets, right? You're going to miss something. Yeah. So these apps are interesting, okay? You could drive an entire county. I don't know how long that would take. Let's assume it would take you a month. I don't know. That sounds about right if you worked 5 days a week. This essentially is just a modern tool on your cell phone that anybody can use. And one of my mentors, way before they had the internet, was a guy named Jack Miller. And he used to say that all you need in the world is 4,000 houses. So the way he would do it is he had a map of 4,000 houses that he wanted to buy. Houses met a certain kind of criteria. What kind of criteria? That they were affordable, they were still in nice neighborhoods, they were the type of houses that he wanted to buy. And what he would do is whenever he had free time, whenever he woke up in the morning and he didn't have anything active to do, He would go to his map and he would just knock on doors, leave flyers, leave business cards. He just worked his neighborhoods, all right? And he worked these 4,000 houses. I don't know how long it took him to hit all 4,000 houses personally, but let's assume, I would imagine it would take 6 months. So if he did that, then every 6 months he was coming around. So he bought houses. He also was a realtor, okay? So he could serve any purpose you wanted. A lot of times he would buy back the houses that he sold to people. When they decided to sell it, he would buy it back off of them. He also kept track of all their family information. So he wanted to know how old the kids were. He wanted to know all these things. Why? Because family changes, such as maybe if your kid is 18, your kid's going off to college. Maybe the parents might want to downsize the house at that point. So he was always tracking these family statistics so he could use that to determine what the next move for this family might be. And if, you know, anything like that was what he did. And a very clever guy who did this way before most people were even thinking about driving around, old-fashioned way. Just get in your car. He used to say, you can't steal when you're going 85 miles an hour. What he meant by that is don't drive on the highway. Don't drive on the highway because you can't get somebody's house. Well, he was a crazy guy. He had a really funny personality. But he'd say, you can't steal somebody's house when you're on a highway. You got to drive on the regular streets. So his thing was, no matter where you're going every day, take a different way. Take a different way. Drive up and down streets. He goes, I'd find the cutest little neighborhoods that I never even knew about, especially if you've ever spent any time in Tampa. There's a lot of hidden neighborhoods. And they got these trees with this huge overhang, and like you couldn't even see any of these houses unless you're driving down the street. But this was his game. This is how he made his money. Going out every day, whenever he had nothing else to do, he would go drive neighborhoods. Very clever way to cover your entire town. And he knew the neighborhoods he didn't want to have anything to do with because he didn't have to look at every house in Tampa. He only had to look at 4,000. That sounds like a lot of houses, but you could probably do that relatively, you know, I think 6 months sounds about right. So anybody got any marketing questions? I hear crickets. Well, that means I must have answered everything you could have possibly have thought of. So I'm quite satisfied with that result. Do we have Jamie, how do you pronounce her last name? Lanahan? Lonigan? Thank you.
If you're cool and you go to investor schooling for your financial wits, let's become the rich. Put on a crazy jacket or a wild blouse, trying hard to look like Larry Steinhaus. If your goal is to find every single loophole like that Nancy Pelosi witch, AOC can tax the rich. Run your money through whole life insurance to create some financial endurance. Don't be
Michelle
dumb,
has
make
one in
sure
the
that
back.
you come to our investor schooling blitz.
Start marketing.
Eric has one.
Just pick some ideas you like to do and do it.
Okay. We'll go to Joe Bonino.
I like the drive-by idea, just getting out there and seeing what's in your neighborhood. When he said that, there's a house that's 2 blocks from me that I noticed when I'm walking the dog. I'm going to go knock on the door.
All right. Awesome. One more takeaway. We're going to come up to Don. I'll get everyone tickets who answered. And then,
You make your own calls. You'll learn from it.
Awesome. Thank you
Right.
so much for sharing. I'll get you all tickets in a second. All right, I'm gonna exit the stage and our next speaker is gonna come up. Let's delete.
Practice makes perfect.
If you're cool and you go to investor schooling for your financial wits, let's become the rich. Put on a crazy jacket or a wild blouse, trying hard to look like Larry Steinhaus. If your goal is to find every single loophole like that Nancy Pelosi witch, AOC can tax the rich. Run your money through whole life insurance to create some financial endurance. Don't be dumb, make sure that you come to our investor schooling blitz. Let's become the rich. Become the rich. Become the rich.
All right, who's ready? I obviously wasn't. Enjoyed that. I practiced that. Never. All right, so I want to talk to you a little bit about. I am here. You're here. Singing along. Do we have to do it again? All right. So, why are you all here? To become the rich, right? Right? You know, he's playing it again, just so he can. What? Oh no, wait,
If you're cool and you go
gotta do it
to
over here.
investor schooling for your financial wits.
Yeah, all right. All right. So, we want to become the rich, right? What do the rich do? You want to know what I know they don't do? Everything you're doing. You know why? Because you're not the rich. All right. I do admit there's some things that you guys have been changing since you've been some of the students in here, right? And some of you guys have been hanging out. You've been coming here. You've been learning new things. And the number one thing that rich people do is pay less. Fuck you, AOC. All right? So you have to learn how to do that. Now, it's on a percentage. Does anybody believe that Trump or other rich people pay less taxes than you? No, they don't. They don't pay less than you. They pay millions and millions and millions more than you do. Maybe it's not their personal tax return. Maybe it's their business, right? So, like, is anybody a business owner? Right? How many taxes do you pay that nobody even talks about? Like, you match Social Security tax, you pay payroll taxes, right? And you have unemployment taxes, and all these other taxes that nobody talks about. So all these rich people are paying all these taxes. They're actually feeding this economy. It is true that I want to be able to pay the least amount of taxes possible. But how much, and you guys, some of your students know this, how much do I want to pay a year in taxes? I want to pay $500,000 a year in taxes. Because I want to. If you're paying $500,000 a year in taxes, you know what you're probably making? Come on in, man. You know what you're probably making? Yeah, probably anywhere from $3 to $5 million a year. You missed the whole thing, man. But just for you, I'll show you. All right. So you're probably making between $3 and $5 million a year if you're paying $500,000 in taxes. Isn't that great? Anybody want to sneeze at that? No, not a problem, right? You want to sneeze at that? All right. All right. So some of the things that we teach those things. We teach people how to pay less taxes. And you have to change your mindset. You have to change your mindset to know that you want to pay more taxes. Now, you don't want to pay more percentage of taxes. And if you guys, how many people have gone through my tax class and seen all the tax savings that you can get that you didn't even know were available to you and how you can make money? You know, I probably made this year about probably about $130,000 this year in money that will never be taxed, ever be taxed. So, AOC, right? That's what you're going to do. You're going to learn. That's what you're going to learn things. Those are the types of things you're going to learn in investor schooling. But those are things you should be doing every day. Who's got a business? Raise your hand again. They're all in LLCs, right? Not? Oh, incorporated. Okay, even better. That's fine. Yeah. So it's a C corp or S corp. C corp. You like the? It's a C corp. So that's so. Okay, I'm not going to get into it, but C corp is not the best place for you to be. But that's okay. All right. All right. So let's talk a little bit about why and how investor schooling got started, because I think it's important that you guys learn. So some of you know the story, and this is the story. So you guys are sitting in a building. You know, Phil talks about buying real estate all the time with no money. I talk about buying real estate with no money. I bought this building. It was up for sale, and I was literally talking about marketing. I was literally going through expired listings, and I mailed a bunch of expired listings, and this was a commercial expired listing. Guy calls me up, and he says, "Hey, do you want to buy my property?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I come see him, and he owns this guy. He's actually like a friend of mine now. His name is Gary. And I come see him, and this building, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a wall here, and there were a couple of offices here, and there was also a bunch of walls here that you guys never even saw because these were other offices that he built. So I buy this building. I walk him to him. I said, "Hey, how much do you want for the building?" He goes, "Well, I had it listed for $325," and he goes, "But I don't think I'm going to get that." I love it. That was great. That's just right there. I'm like, yeah. I go, "What do you really want?" He goes, "Look, I don't know. I'll take $290." So I don't know if it's worth $290. I would have given him $290. I just want to see what he could do. I said, "I think it's probably worth maximum $265. He goes, "I'll take that." I said, "All right, but here's the deal." I said, "What are you going to do with the money?" First I said, "What do you owe on it?" And he goes, "Nothing." I go, "What are you going to do with the money?" He goes, "I don't know. I'm just going to put in an annuity and collect some money a month." "How much are you going to collect?" He goes, "I don't know, maybe $1,000. I said, what if I became your annuity?" He goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you $1,000 a month for 10 years, and then I'll pay you the difference." And he scratched his head, and he goes, "Well, what if I want some money down?" I go, "How much do you want?" He goes, $35,000. I said, "All right, I can give you $35,000 down and give you $1,000 a month and pay you for 10 years. So I buy the building with those terms." First of all, look at this. You guys came in this morning, right? Look at this place. Do you think that a place like this could get, I don't know, maybe $3,500 a month? Yeah, well, that's what I thought. So I put it up for $3,800, and 3 months later, I didn't get one call. Lowered the price to $2,700. Didn't get one call. Lowered the price to $2,300. Got a couple of calls. Lowered the price to $1,800, and I get one call. I'm going to tell you about that call in a second now. So, meantime, I'm home. I'm bored. My wife's not my wife at the time. She's going to work every day. My friends are all going to work every day. You know, I got nothing to do. Anybody sit home and do nothing? Right? I'm going to tell you, Dr. Phil, it's boring really fast. I don't need to work anymore. I've got rents coming in. I collect the money. I'm making money in stock options. So if I want to go buy something fancy, I just go buy it with that money. And I'm bored. But somebody calls me up and says, "Hey, I hear you're killing it in real estate." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Can you train me? Can you teach me something?" I go, "Sure. There's a Dunkin' Donuts down the street." I said, "Meet me at the Dunkin' Donuts. Buy me a cup of coffee." So they buy me a cup of coffee. I give them some tips. I call them a week later. I said, "Hey, did you do anything?" And they go, "No." I'm like, "Really? Great." Another guy calls me up, "Hey, I hear you're killing it in stock options." "Yeah." He goes, "Hey, can you give me a tip or two?" "Sure." Meet me at Dunkin' Donuts, right? So I meet him at Dunkin' Donuts, same thing. Week later, "You do anything?" "No." Well, another guy calls me up, and it happened to be a real estate guy. Calls me up and says, "Hey, can you teach me some real estate?" I said, "Sure, meet me at Dunkin' Donuts." So before I start, I said, "Listen, this is how we're going to do this. Give me $3,500, and I'll coach you for a month." And he goes, "Okay." He takes out his checkbook, writes me a check for $3,500. I put it in my pocket. John's here. Cool. I put it in my pocket, and I start coaching him. And, by the way, not only has he become the rich, he moved, I forgot what island he moved to. But he found his beautiful girlfriend, moved to an island, took all the money anyway. It's kind of an amazing story, but another story. So I noticed that he actually started doing things. So then I got another client and another client, another client. It was kind of haphazard. And you all know my partner, Phil. So Phil, for years, had been teaching, going to hotel rooms and restaurants and teaching this business. And he did it, was actually really brilliant. He did it mostly to get money, so he would have a conversation with all these people in the room. Look what I'm buying, look what I'm buying, look what I'm buying. And somebody would come up to, hey, listen, I don't know if I could do that, but how can I get involved? And Phil would say, give me your money. But not quite like that. And it worked. It was actually brilliant. So I said, hey, Phil, why don't we do something together? Why don't we put this, I got a bunch of students, you got some people, you got some contacts. Why don't we put together a school that does this? So Phil goes, all right, let's do that. So sure enough, he goes, I got this website, and the website is Investor Schooling. I'm like, no, that's great. So that's what we decided to call it, right? We call it Investor Schooling. So meanwhile, I've got this office, right? So I'm like, all right, why don't we do it here? I'll clean the office up. We'll bring the people here, and we'll do what we got to do. So we decided, was it 2018, I think? It was 2018, right? Yeah. We decided that we're going to make our opening day April 12th, 2018. So this was right around January. We were talking about it. We're putting stuff together. I'm cleaning up the office. We're doing whatever we got to do, letting some people know. I'm also training some people in the office at this point already. So we say we're going to do April 12th, 2018. He goes off to Florida. He goes, when I come back from Florida. He goes off to Florida. He's doing some stuff on his tiny houses and stuff, and it's kind of cool. Comes back. He's about a week before April 12th, and he goes, are we ready for next week? I go, next week? What are you talking about? He goes, next week, our grand opening. I go, oh, it's June. He goes, no, it's April. I go, no, it's June. And I go, what? It's next week? And he goes, you want to postpone it? I go, no, let's not postpone it. So we scrambled. We sent a bunch of emails out, and we literally got a case of beer. If you guys don't know the story, we literally got a case of beer. We put a case of beer in the back, and we go, if nobody shows up, we'll just drink the beer. So a dozen people showed up, which was awesome. We had a great time. We actually broke out some beer, and had a great time. And it was like that was the very first session. There's video of it somewhere. There's parts of it. So that's how Investor Schooling started. So what is it that makes you get up in the morning? This makes me get up in the morning. I love this. What makes you get up in the morning, Nacho? Helping your family, right? Right. You helping your family with properties? All right, you ready? Come up here. Give me a mic for him, please. All right. You ready? You guys ready? You guys ready? You guys, who coached with me so far? Who knows what's coming? All right, you ready? Make sure you put that microphone close.
Okay.
All right, you ready? Yeah, come over here. All right. Not that close.
Okay.
You doing this for your family?
For my family, yeah.
All right, you ready? He's full of shit. Okay, and every single one of you gets up in the morning and goes, I do this for my kids. I do this for my family. That's not what this is. Now, don't get me wrong. There are definitely things that you need to do for your family. A single mother with 2 or 3 kids, right, going to work at McDonald's every day, they're doing that for their family. Get it? They got to feed their family. That's different. You don't need to feed your family, do you?
No, they can do it by themselves also.
Well, that's true too, but that's not what exactly I meant. You don't need to buy houses to feed your family, do you?
No.
No, I didn't think so, right? So you've gone beyond doing what you need to do for your family.
Mhm.
So who are you doing it for?
For me.
Yes. Every single one of you need to learn this lesson. This is one of the most important lessons you're ever going to learn. When you wake up in the morning, whatever you're doing, that's beyond feeding your family, which is the basics, food, shelter, water. Anything beyond that, you're doing for yourself. You're extremely selfish. Are you selfish?
Sometimes.
You ready for this?
Yes.
Always. Who here is selfish? You see, the people who raise their hand are people who have been in the class for a while. You know how I know? Because I'm going to teach you how to be selfish. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. Do you think being selfish is a bad thing?
No.
Well, it was until a minute ago. At least you thought it was, right?
That's
So
why
we're growing up, and I tell you a great story, right? So anybody remember Buxton's, the ice cream parlor? It was like what was used to be over here, the one in Newtown. What was it called? Good Nose, right? So it was a place called Buxton's. It was in East Brunswick. It was the one I used to go to. It was a chain, and I used to always get the same thing. I used to get this 6-scoop vanilla ice cream, and it came with 3 tubs of hot fudge, right? And I would carefully, pour the fudge on so that at the very bottom, I'd be done with all 3 bowls of fudge, and I didn't waste any fudge. So every single scoop, every single bite had fudge and ice cream on it. Every one. So it was perfect. So I was little. I was maybe 10, 12, 15. I don't even know. My parents take us out. Me and my 2 brothers. We go there, and I order my favorite thing. Got my 3 tubs of hot fudge. I'm halfway through, and my father says, "Give some hot fudge to your brother."
It's gone.
First of all, Dad, don't you frickin' know your son's OCD? And I said, no. No, that's my hot fudge. Order some more. We're in the frickin' restaurant. Order some more. And what did he call me?
Selfish.
Selfish. So I thought selfish was a bad word. Everybody thinks selfish is a bad word? You did until now.
Yeah, until now.
Right? Until now, right?
Until now.
Yeah. Let me tell you, selfish is the greatest thing you can be when you understand what selfish is. Selfish is helping yourself and feeling good and allowing yourself to feel good. I'm going to let you sit down now.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you a story about the most selfish thing I've ever done. You ready? So, anybody ever been to Miami? Right? So they have those trams, right? Trams in Miami. You ever see this? This is really cool, actually. It's a whole transportation system in Miami that goes all around Miami, and there's no drivers. It's just it's all electronic. It's really, really cool. It's like a tram. The whole thing is maybe maybe the size of these 3 rows put together. The whole maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe the size of these 3 rows all together like this. So you get in, it takes you to the next stop. The doors open automatically. You get out. The doors open automatically. Get out right. So I get in the tram, and I'm going to a dinner. Special dinner at an event. I'm wearing a suit, and at the time, my eyes weren't this bad. So I wore readers. Anybody ever start to go blind like me? You start wearing the readers first, because you don't want to you need glasses. So I have these readers, the 1.5 time readers, right? And you get them for like $10 at the Walgreens, So I have one set tucked in my jacket because I know I have to read stuff tonight because I'm going to this thing, right? I'm going to this thing, right? And it's the only readers I got with me. I get on this tram. The doors open. I get in. I lean against the wall. Goes to the next stop. Doors open. And this homeless guy gets in. Now, he's pushing a shopping cart. You guys ever see somebody homeless pushing a shopping cart? One of those, like the short ones? Not a short cart, but like the long ones. You know what I'm talking about, right? He's got what looks like to me to be everything he owns in his life is in this thing. He's wearing one of these coats. It's a beat-up coat. And it's all ripped up. And you could just picture what he smelled like. Right? Just think about it. Guy probably hasn't probably even seen a shower in a month. Forget about had one. He goes to the corner of the tram, and everybody moves out of the way. I'm sitting here. He's right across from me, almost about this distance, and I'm looking at him. And I'm just looking at him, thinking about this dinner, and at the same time, I don't know what thoughts are going through my head. Maybe how did he get there? Why is he there? I don't know. He reaches into his shopping cart and he pulls out a book. And the book's all tattered and torn and ripped up, but, it's a book. And then he reaches in somewhere and he pulls out this set of glasses, and these glasses are broken. Like, one of the lenses is cracked, one of the arms are missing, and it's like this, like on his face, kind of like this, and I could see him trying to adjust the glasses to try to read the book, holding the book in one hand, the glasses in the other hand. And I'm watching this go on, and then all of a sudden, I get to my stop, and the door's open. I reach into my pocket, I take out my glasses, I hand it to him, and I walk off the train. He doesn't say a word, I don't say a word, I just walk off the train. That was one of the most selfish things I've ever done. Anybody else think that was one of the most selfish things I've ever done? Raise your hand if you think that was selfish. Raise your hand if you think it was selfless, right? Because you've all been taught that was really, really nice thing to do, right? I'm going to tell you how selfish that was. You guys ready? I got off that train and I felt like $1 million. I just did such a nice thing that all I could do was feel how good I felt. I don't even know if there was the right prescription for the guy. I don't even know if he was going to take those glasses and sell them for somebody for $5 on a train. I don't care. All I know is it felt good to do it. It was extremely selfish. Now, go back and think about everything you do. Right? Who's married? How many times does your wife say, "Damn it, do the dishes"? Right? And then you're like, the next morning you get up and you do the dishes. Right? Right? Why are you doing that? Because why? Because she's going to complain and get everything not done, right? Right? So why are you doing it? Because you're freaking selfish. You know why? Because you don't want to hear her complain. That's why. Think about it, right? When I have investor schooling, when I teach these guys how to buy houses, when I teach Don, when Don comes to me and goes, "Man, I just put a trailer home park and I'm ready to buy another one," I get so freaking excited because I selfishly taught Don how to do that, so I can get excited when he tells me that he's buying a trailer park. What's the matter, Tom? You don't agree? You totally agree? Okay. Yeah. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to change your mindset. When you change your mindset and realize that selfish is good, you'll become selfish and understand why you do everything you do. All right. Who's ever heard the phrase, "The world revolves around you"? What do you think of that phrase, Tommy? What? Oh, yeah, okay. I got others. I'm actually buying time because somebody didn't show up. But that's okay. That's another story. All right? Dan, what about you? You ever hear the expression, "the world revolves around you"? Has anybody ever said that to you? Not you, Tommy. Dan, behind you. Yeah, I thought so too. It could be. He won't really tell us. And if you know Tommy, you understand that. So Dan, what do you think? Has anybody ever said the world? What do you think? The world revolves around you? Were you insulted? Okay. Did you know what? You know what you should have told him? Absolutely, it does. You want me to prove it? Stand up. Turn completely around. Come all the way back. Did the world just revolve around you? It did, didn't it?
Yep.
It did.
Awesome.
It did.
It was
right?
my mom. I'll tell her next time.
That's right. So anytime anybody ever says that to you, you say it does. Want me to prove it? Because it does. Everything that you see and do is your own perspective. Everything is your own perspective. Don't let people confuse you with reality. Like masks don't work. We know masks don't work. And they're confusing you with their reality that masks do work. Wait, I'm back. I'm on another tangent again. pants had no belt loops. He didn't tell me about it. I didn't wear suspenders. All right. You guys, anybody else want to know some words of wisdom that'll blow your mind? Here's another one. I know the exact day the world was created. Shut up, Tommy. What do you think? Do I need you to hey, Tommy, you want to come up here and give the presentation? All right. So I should either look at it as one or two things. Tommy's extremely rude, or I've given this presentation so many times he's memorized it. Both are bad. The exact day the world was created was the day you were born. The minute you were born. Don't believe me? What was here before you were born? Nothing. And guess what happens when you die? No matter where you go. You believe in God, don't believe in God, believe in Jesus, don't believe in Jesus, believe you go to heaven, don't believe in going to heaven. This world, what happens to it? It's gone. I can't read that. You gotta make it brighter or bigger. Right? It's gone. Gone. Right? When you start to think about that, you'll understand that now, if you take the fact that the world revolves around you and the fact that the world was created the day you were born, anything you want, you can have. So this weekend, we're going to go over a bunch of things that I'm going to talk to you about, not just real estate, not just, actually, probably not even going to get it. Probably the last thing that we talked about was real estate was going to be today with Phil. It's going to be a totally different experience for you this weekend. It's going to be motivating. It's going to be breaking into breakout sessions and talking about whatever it is you want to talk about. If you have businesses you want to discuss, you want to talk about it with business people. We have several speakers here. And the first breakout session, which we'll get into in a little while, the first breakout session, you'll be able to go into groups and talk to some of these people. Right now, how many people want to use number 1 and number 2? We'll be back in your seats in 10 minutes, and we'll discuss what's going to happen next. And don't forget, there you go.
I'm excited.
Good, man.